The horrifying, brutal killings of non-locals continuing in Kashmir. Vijay Kumar, a bank manager, was shot dead in broad daylight yesterday, and two labourers were shot at late last night in Budgam as well. One of them, unfortunately, has succumbed to his injuries. Amid repeated attacks on non-locals and Kashmiri minorities, Home Minister Amit Shah will chair a key security review meet today. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, along with other senior members of the administration, will be present in this meeting, where security arrangements for the upcoming Amarnath Yatra will also be discussed. Earlier, Home Minister Amit Shah also chaired a meeting with NSA Ajit Doval over the targeted killings in the Union Territory. This would be the second such meeting in less than a fortnight, as the situation is clearly worsening in the valley. Kamaljeet Sandhu is joining us live with more details on this. Also with us on this broadcast is Sunilji Bhatt, reporting live from Jammu. Sunilji, I'll begin with you. There's a sense of fear right now in the valley, with more and more such targeting killings coming to light. Last night, after the attack, after the murder of bank manager Vijay Kumar, the images and CCTV footage of which we're playing out, there's been another attack, another targeted killing, this time of labourers.
Absolutely, Akshita. There is no end to the targeted killings in the Kashmir Valley. And late last night, terrorists, fired at two laborers who were working at a brick kiln in central Kashmir's Budgam district. One of them was critically injured, while another one was stable. But later, unfortunately, the laborer who was critical, he's come to his injuries. But Akshita, clearly, it's a big security challenge that has emerged for the government as well as for the security agencies. This new wave of hybrid terrorism. The government is trying its level best to, come up with a strategy. Today, an important meeting is going to be held at the MHA. Union Home Minister Amit Shah is going to chair this meeting. NSA Ajit Doval will be there. J&K Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha will be there, besides other top officials from J&K administration and from the intelligence agencies. But Akshita, we have seen that in the last fortnight, there have been series of targeted killings taking place at various places in the Kashmir Valley, whether it's South Kashmir, Central Kashmir, and it's the minority Hindu community which is bearing the brunt of these attacks. However, many Muslim community members who are being seen with siding with India are also being targeted by the terrorists, but mostly terrorists are targeting the minority Hindu community members, and it has created fear psychosis among them, and that is why we have seen that hundreds of the Hindu government employees who were serving in the valley have left the valley, and they have arrived in Jammu. Yesterday, they staged protests in Jammu, and they demanded that they be transferred to Jammu region. Okay, so,
many minorities who are living in the valley are scared. They're speaking out. They're saying that the government must do something to assure us of our security, with so many targeted killings coming to light. Sunilji, stay on with us. I want to take this across to Kamaljeet Sandhu to understand, Kamaljeet, what has been the Modi government's response to this? I know that Home Minister Amit Shah has been chairing a series of meetings. Today also, there's going to be a security review happening.
Well, Lakshita, let me tell you that the meeting today is post-lunch. It's around 3 o'clock, where LG as well as senior officials, both from MHA and from the Jammu Kashmir Police and administration, will be present. But what is also significant is that this was a pre-scheduled meeting on Amarnath. But yes, it will touch upon aspects which is related to targeted killings. This is something which was picked up much earlier as well. Now, intelligence agencies had been forewarning that this could be a trend. Remember, pistols by the dozens have been coming every single day through international border, dropped by drones, making it all the way to Kashmir Valley. And many say it's more like turning Kashmir into Mirzapur of sorts. This is where there is killing taking place every single day. Now, we know as far as security forces are concerned, they've kept sustained pressure. There have been at least 14 encounters just about in the month of May. There were 27 terrorists neutralized. 7 of them were Pakistani, 20 of them were locals. However, the challenge is not just the pistols, but also from the hybrid terrorist. These are youngsters or youth who are picking up arms. Earlier, they would declare as to when they were joining terror ranks or who they would be joining with the AK-47. Now, it is unknown faces. Anybody could have actually been a hybrid terrorist. And this is where the real challenge lies. Those who are going about their daily lives, there's a bank manager who's going to the bank, there's a teacher who's going to teach children. All these are becoming innocent, targeted people now. And obviously, the numbers only rising. We've earlier seen that security forces have been facing the brunt. This year alone, 9 security force personnel, mostly from Jammu Kashmir police, have been targeted and killed while they were off duty, while they were home. Last year, the figure was 20. But this is almost June now, so we marked 6 months. And this is where the challenge lies. Now, one is what people are saying is the muscular policy, that there are more encounters, more suspects. The other is obviously try and see if they can engage youth, try and dissuade them from joining terror ranks.
It's very clear, Kawalji, that there needs to be a rethink completely in how the government is addressing these killings right now. Thanks, Kamalji, for those details. Sunilji, I request you to stay on with me. We're going to need your inputs on the next news break that's also coming in. The bank manager, Vijay Kumar, who was shot dead by terrorists yesterday, his mortal remains have now reached his village. His shattered family have received the mortal remains of Vijay Kumar. Now remember, he was just 29 years old. He got married a few months ago in February. He'd moved to, in fact, Kashmir, to Kulgam just a few days ago and was targeted by terrorists. That is the CCTV footage on the left of your screens, which has shocked the entire nation. On the right, in Rajasthan, in Hanumangarh, his mortal remains have been brought to his family. Heartbreaking to even talk about this, Sunilji. The fact that, an innocent man is paid with his life for this kind of terrorists targeting him. Why was he targeted? Because he was a non-local. A bank manager simply doing his job, shot dead in broad daylight.
Akshita, this is the ugly face of jihad in the Kashmir Valley. Innocent people are being targeted, and in this case also Vijay Kumar, who had nothing to do with anything, who had nothing to do with any politics. He was simply serving in the valley, serving the people of Kashmir, but see what he got in return. He was targeted, he was shot dead in broad daylight inside his office. And I mean, this also exposes government's tall claims that, security has been beefed up in places where members of minority Hindu community are posted. But see, the CCTV footage that has emerged in this footage, one can clearly see that there was no security guard deployed outside the bank or inside the bank. So this clearly exposes the claims of the local administration that all measures have been taken, but still the minority Hindu community members remain soft targets for terrorists. And as far as Vijay Kumar is concerned, it's a tragedy. I mean, he was married just few months ago and he was posted in Kashmir Valley just few days ago, and he was assassinated by the terrorists. But Akshita, one also needs to ponder over this fact that there are people within the system in the Kashmir Valley who are leaking the information about the postings of the Hindus, who are leaking information about the movement of Hindus, and then these information is passed on to the terrorists. And also accountability needs to be fixed, that since everyone is aware that the security situation in the Kashmir Valley right now is not normal, security situation has deteriorated, why was he posted in the terror hotbed of South Kashmir? So it remains to be seen that why this kind of, lackadaisical approach is being seen on part of the administration or from the authorities. So a lot needs to be fixed. And that is why, a meeting is being chaired today by none other than the Home Minister of the country. And all eyes are on this meeting, and everyone hopes that the government is able to come up with a strategy that can contain this new threat of hybrid terrorism in the Kashmir Valley.
The administration, you're right, Sunilji, has a lot to answer for. They are answerable and accountable to their family, heartbroken, receiving the mortal remains of 29-year-old Vijay Kumar. Those images on the left of your screen. So just from a few months ago, he got married just in February, got a new posting in Jammu and Kashmir, moved there thinking that, this was the beginning of a journey full of opportunities, and days later was targeted by terrorists. In fact, what's worrying is that in Jammu and Kashmir, there's been non-stop targeted killings. Vijay Kumar, this bank manager in Kulgam, was shot dead by terrorists. This was captured on CCTV. You see the terrorists entering there and shooting dead Vijay Kumar in a matter of seconds. And this isn't the only incident. In May, a Kashmiri Pandit, Rahul Bhatt, a government employee, was shot dead by terrorists. These civilian killings have sparked a wave of outrage by the Hindu community that's living in the valley. They're asking one question of the administration: When will we be safe? When will this butchery end?
Innocent victims who fell to jihadi murderers, hunted by cowards desperate to keep the terror pot boiling. Kashmiri Pandit and government employee Rahul Bhatt, singer and dancer Amreen, policeman Saifullah Qadri, Dalit Hindu school teacher Rajani Bala, and now bank employee from Rajasthan Vijay Kumar. On Thursday, Vijay Kumar was gunned down. The chilling images caught on the bank's CCTV cameras, showing a lone terrorist barging into the bank branch in Kulgam, J&K, while Vijay was busy at work on his desk, firing multiple shots at him before fleeing the spot. Vijay received critical gunshot wounds, succumbing to his injuries at a nearby hospital a little later. Vijay Kumar was married just 45 days ago.
370 जाने के बाद सीधे गुवाहाटी आकर बड़े अटैक करते थे, वो तो सारा सरकार ने उस पर पाबंदी लगाई और तो कंट्रोल कर दिया। ये उन्होंने नया रास्ता निकाला और वो इसलिए कि दूसरे स्टेट वाले यहाँ वो से किडनैप बन जाए, उनकी ये प्लानिंग होगी, बाकी तो पता नहीं क्या प्लानिंग है।
The chilling images have sent shivers down the spines of the minority communities and non-local communities in Kashmir. Many from the Kashmiri Pandit community were seen fleeing to escape the terror shadow that is seen to be expanding in the last few weeks and months. In Jammu, the Hindu community vented its anger, seeking protection against the jihadi terror plot. Anger palpable, the outrage visible everywhere.
यही हमारी एग्नी है जो हमारी गवर्नमेंट इसको एड्रेस नहीं कर रही है। ठीक है, यही हमारी एग्नी है। हम उनको वो हमें कहते हैं कि हाँ सेफ एरिया में लेके जाएंगे। सर कश्मीर देयर इज नो सेफ एरिया इन कश्मीर सर।
छोड़ के आना सर, वहाँ पे मरना है क्या? किसके लिए वहाँ पे रुकना है? टोटली अनसेफ है वहाँ पे, हम कमरे से बाहर नहीं निकल सकते हैं, भाग के आना पड़ा हमें वहाँ पे।
फिर से कुलगाम के अंदर राजस्थान के रहने वाले श्रीमान विजय कुमार साहब, जो इलाकाई देहाती बैंक के अंदर मैनेजर थे, उनको निशाना बनाकर पाकिस्तानी कायर आतंकवादियों ने बहुत बड़ा जघन्य अपराध किया है, महापाप किया।
Angry protesters were seen burning Pakistani flags and trampling on them to protest Islamabad's continued support to jihadi killings and forces in Jammu and Kashmir.
ये जो मौतें हैं, हम लोग को बलि का बकरा चढ़ाया जा रहा है और इससे बड़ी लानत और इससे बड़ी ट्रेजेडी कुछ नहीं हो सकती।
The J&K administration had earlier decided to shift migrant employees and those facing terror threats to secure locations by June the 6th. But the administration needs to be asked some very hard questions. How many more deaths in Kashmir? How many more civilians and innocent lives are at stake?
Two targeted killings of the two government employees of minority community in the Kulgam district of South Kashmir has not only exposed the big claims of the Jammu and Kashmir government and security agencies, but in fact increased the worries and fear among the non-Muslims in Kashmir Valley. That is why now many families of the government employees, particularly Kashmiri Pandits, are once again leaving the valley. With Rauf Ahmed, Ashraf Wani for India Today in Srinagar.
Hunted and haunted. That's how Kashmiri Pandits living in the valley feel right now. The killing of Vijay Kumar has triggered a fresh wave of anger, of protests in the valley. Hindus who are employed in Kashmir are now demanding that they be relocated to safer areas. Some have already started packing up their bags and leaving, triggering fears of another exodus. It hasn't happened yet, but they're saying that they need answers from the government. They need security and an assurance that they're safe.
Packing up their belongings, leaving their homes. In Anantnag's Matan, Kashmiri Pandits employed under the PM package who had come to work from Jammu are departing.
आज मटन के इलाके से भी 20 गाड़ियां निकल चुकी है। आज एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी को निकलना था क्योंकि डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन हमें रोकने आई थी। उस दौरान एक प्रेग्नेंट लेडी की कंडीशन थोड़ा ज़्यादा खराब हो गई, उसको हमने जम्मू भेजना था, उसको रोका गया, लेकिन फिर जैसे तैसे करके सिक्योरिटी फोर्स से क्लैश करके हमने उसको भेज दिया।
Series of targeted killings has triggered fears of another exodus. Hunted and haunted. These Kashmiri Pandits are preparing for mass migration.
हम पिछले 22 दिनों से प्रदर्शन पे है और एम्प्लॉयज की डे 1 से एक ही डिमांड है कि हमें सुरक्षित यहाँ से निकाला जाए, हमें सुरक्षित यहाँ से निकाला जाए। तो आज जिस तरीके से एक और किलिंग होती है, परसों एक और किलिंग हुई थी रजनी बालाजी की, जिस प्रकार से निर्मम हत्याएं हो रही है, हम प्रशासन से पहले दिन से जब राहुल भट्ट की किलिंग हुई थी तो डे 1 से हम यही बोल रहे हैं कि हमें यहाँ से सेफली निकाला जाए।
कश्मीर में आम आदमियों की मौत जा रही है, आम जाने जा रही है, कश्मीरियों को मार दिया जा रहा है, इसमें आम आदमी मारा जाता है, कश्मीरी मारा जाता है। अगर एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन अब भी कदम नहीं उठाएगी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन तहफ़्फ़ुज़ नहीं देगी, तो हम क्या अमेरिका से तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मांगेंगे?
कंटिन्यूसली सिविलियन किलिंग हो रही है, इसलिए बैठे हैं इधर। देखिए, कल भी एक हमारी बहन की जान चलेगी, आज भी एक भाई की जान चलेगी। उसके लिए एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन कहाँ है, क्या कर रही है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन? यहाँ एक आम कश्मीरी रोज़ मर रहा है, इसलिए हमारा पोटेंशियल।
If there is fear, there is also anger. Anger against government inaction and lack of security.
There is no end to the targeted killings in the Kashmir Valley, and behind me you can see that protests are taking place here in Jammu city. These are the protesters. They are the government employees belonging to the Dogra Hindu community, and they are currently serving in the Kashmir Valley. But due to the prevailing security situation, they have fled from the valley and they are here.
7 killings in the last 26 days. Who will save Kashmir's innocence? With Sunil G. Bhatt in Jammu, Bureau Report, India Today.